First of all, like everybody else, thank you very much for coming out in such large numbers today. We have to send a very clear and unmistakable message to every leader in Canada, all 14 governments, that we will not stand to see our freedoms taken away. We will not stand by, and just because you remove the mandates, it's all over. It's just beginning, because we want those rights and freedoms reestablished in our Charter of Rights and Freedoms, because they're sacred and permanent for all of Canada. Our Charter of Rights and Freedoms is not a federal law. Our Charter on Rights and Freedoms is not a provincial law. It's not a municipal law. It's a national law. When anybody talks to you about a federal law or a provincial law or a municipal law, you respond to say, that is very secondary to my Charter of Rights and Freedoms, which is a sacred national law of my country. We never fought for 114 years to get a written Charter of Rights and Freedoms to have it torn up in 40. Yesterday afternoon, I got an email from the people in Ottawa. We chartered a plane, and we're going to pick you up in Victoria and take you to Ottawa for the rally that's going on there. And I had to go back and say to them, one of the reasons why a lot of Canadians still listen to what I have to say is because I keep my word, and my word was to be here in Victoria today. And Canadians in Terrace, and Canadians in Souk, and Canadians in Duncan, and Canadians in Port Hardy, and Canadians all over Vancouver Island, British Columbia, are Canadians just as much as anybody in any other part of the country. We are all Canadians, and we all come under that sacred Charter of Rights and Freedoms. And I've been arguing about this now for about a year and a half, on my blog, in public meetings, on Zoom, and all the rest of it. But about a week or so ago, my wife and I sat down, and we're sitting down all the time talking about this and how unbelievable it all is. What else can I do? And so I laid a lawsuit against the federal government. And I've assembled a good team of lawyers, most of them is led by the Justice Centre for Constitutional Freedoms, but they've also brought in people from outside. So I have a good team of 6 lawyers, and we're going to fight this all the way. I guess there was a lot of people around who thought that all the people who were at that conference in '81 were dead. They forgot there was just still one guy standing. There's just still one guy standing, and I'm not standing alone. And as time goes on and people begin to understand the message is simple, that you don't have to take away my rights and my freedoms to defend the health care of this country. They have tried to put them together. But we're smart enough to know that they're not going to succeed on putting those together. The science is clear that this could have been handled in a much more manageable and humane manner than it's been handled today. I have had the luxury over the last several weeks, and well, 2 or 3 months now, to chair a national organization called Taking Back Our Freedoms. It's just getting started. But if you go in on their website, takingbackourfreedoms.ca, you will see on this board are all the top scientists in Canada, including the lady, Panessa, who spoke here earlier. All of the top scientists are on the board, national and international scientists who've done research on pandemics and research upon viruses, and who can tell you clearly that the science is on our side. But more than that, freedom and liberty is on our side. And we're not going to allow this nation on the northern part of North America to go down the drain because we have people who've gotten hungry for power and have discarded the individual freedoms that you and I own. They are ours. They are ours. Every individual is unique, like every snowflake. There's none two of us the same. That's why individual rights and freedoms are so important, right? Because it's you as a person, you as an individual, not you as a family, not you as a group, okay? Not you as part of some other organization, not you as part of the province. It's you as an individual Canadian. Possess these rights. That's what's important. That's what we have to explain to people. That's what we have to explain to people from Tofino to Bonavista, from Iqaluit to Niagara. We have to explain to every Canadian, you possess, under the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, certain freedoms and rights. By the way, the Charter starts off with this. This country is founded on the supremacy of God and the rule of law. How many places do you hear that today? Hardly anywhere. It doesn't begin with Section 1 of the Charter. It begins with that phrase. Canada is founded on two principles: the supremacy of God and the rule of law. And where is the rule of law today? They have destroyed the rule of law. And so in my lawsuit, we are arguing, you have to pick. You just can't go to court and say, generally, right, you're violating my rights. You got to pick one, okay? You got to pick one and argue that one. So that's some more people from the convoy, I guess, are just turning up. Isn't that something? Just look at them, still coming. So we had, and I want you to understand this, we had to pick one, okay? Well, what one could we pick that would apply to all Canadians? Mobility rights, right? The ban on travel, because that affects every Canadian from coast to coast to coast, right? Every Canadian is affected by the travel ban. So that's why, if anybody wants to know why did we pick the travel ban, is because now when my lawyers speak, and we speak before the court, we're speaking for all Canadians because all Canadians are affected. And the other reason is that you'll quickly understand is because we go directly with this mobility right, because it was a federal travel ban, to the Federal Court of Canada. We don't have to go through the steps in the provinces. We go directly to the Federal Court of Canada, and there's only one more court to go to, the Supreme Court of Canada. So we have a better chance of quickly getting a decision rather than wait 3 or 4 years. So those are the two reasons. But the central message now, today, as a result of the convoy in Ottawa and across the country and here, is this, and that the Canadian leaders must hear this loud and clear in governments, and you must stay steadfast with this idea, that we are going to ensure that this system changes, not just the mandates going. The system has to change. We don't want to go from one swamp to another swamp. We want to go from a swamp to a grassy field. We want to go from a swamp of corruption to a grassy field of freedom and liberty and democracy. That's what we want. Every democracy in the world, people have had to fight to keep it. It's a very fragile thing, right? The majority of the world today is not under democracy because it's a very fragile thing. And a lot of people are not willing to fight for it. And so they end up in tyranny of one level or another. But we Canadians have learned some hard lessons. And we're not going to let our democracy go down. So we shall now, over the next couple of years as this unfolds, we shall ensure that political movements and political candidates are put in place throughout all of Canada who are honest people, who are speaking for the people, and we'll hold them accountable. One of the problems that we've had in the last 5 or 6 years is that we hardly ever see an MLA or an MP unless it's election time. Well, it's time to, when you elect a new MLA or an MP, you meet with them every 90 days in your community. You force that person to come back and talk to you every 90 days so you know what they're up to. So we have a responsibility too. We've got to hold these people, their feet to the fire, even the new ones when we get them elected, okay? But we must get new people to get elected. What is now in place, and I speak from experience, and one of the reasons, thankfully, you know this now. You know this now. You know why I can stand up here and speak the way I can speak, because I'm beholden to nobody. That's why, that's the biggest danger I am to all of the people who are in power today, because they know you can't touch Peckford because he ran a clean government and a clean party when he was in politics. And so now we've got to, together, over the coming months and years, make sure we hold everybody and start a new movement of political reform, which right now, just about everybody. I keep telling people in the House of Commons today, even though it's a minority government, the NDP has sold out their soul to the Liberals, so it's really a majority government. But the Prime Minister can get up almost every morning and say, I know I've got the majority today because of my 31 ministers, they have 31 parliamentary secretaries, all from the Liberal Party in the House of Commons. And then I have all these parliamentary committees with chairmen, they're all Liberals, and they're all getting extra money, and they go. They're all. So just about everybody in the House of Commons is bought off. You see? So that's why they call it the swamp, because there is no integrity left. And now the MP and the MLA, the best that they are social workers. All the power is gone from the MP and the House of Commons. First it went to the Cabinet, and now it's all in the Prime Minister's office. And the same way here. The Premier runs the show. It's a dictator without a shot being fired and without anybody knowing to change his name. So the power got to get back to the legislature. What happened this past week? The government here, the government where we're standing right now, extended the mandates for another 5 months. Was the House open? Was the House open? Did the parliamentarians form a committee and examine all of the alternatives? Where is our democracy? Gone. Where is our democracy? Gone. Where is our parliaments? Gone. And we have to restore democracy to our parliaments. Our parliaments have got to have power. And the ministry and the premier have got to come to the parliament and ask for things. They don't get them automatically by order because they're the premier or because they're the minister. The parliament, that's how it started with the Magna Carta back in 1215. It started with the people. It started with the people, okay? And it was supposed to be the parliament. And we're here now before this parliament, and we got to shake this place up like you would not believe in order to get that back. Exactly. They've got our attention, and I think they are beginning to realize that we're here and we're not going away anywhere. So listen, hopefully over the next few weeks and months, this gathering will get a little larger as we move into the spring, okay? We need this to grow in every part of Canada. I'd love to see by June all 14 parliaments, 3 territories, 10 provinces, and the federal government, that every parliament, every Saturday through May, June, and July is packed with people. Give us back our democracy. We want our freedoms back, and you're not going to take away from us anymore. I met a young man a few minutes ago talking about his grandfather and his great uncle and so on who fought in the war. And he said, I wonder what he fought for. You know, and no doubt a lot of people here today have family, extended family, all of whom fought in 2 very great wars in the 20th century, which was supposed to establish freedom, which was supposed to establish democracy, which was supposed to eliminate the tyranny of Mussolini or the tyranny and horrendous suffering that Hitler caused. We were supposed to put that behind us and develop a Western democracy which could stand some strength, could stand some dangers. And the least little thing that comes up in Canada, and they take our rights and freedoms away, you see. So we must stand strong, we must stand firm, and we must not relent until we know we have the swamp destroyed and the grassy field restored. So to us all, onward and upward with liberty and freedom. Thank you very much.